Hello everyone and welcome back to some more Satisfactory. It's been a while since I've actually made a update for the creative series that we have, and so I will say I actually did record an episode, but it didn't turn out that well, so I kind of just scrapped it because it wasn't that interesting. And pretty much what we worked on in that one is more like exterior stuff. We didn't really make a new building, which is what we're working on today, but I made this awesome looking bridge. Super happy about because I think it looks fantastic. And what it's actually using is the foundation slopes, not any modded ones, the ones that just come with the vanilla game now, and then using pipes. That's what's making the cords here. And I'm really happy with how that turned out because that was the biggest struggle originally was, okay, how am I going to make the cords to kind of make it look as realistic as possible? And so what I actually ended up doing is just having pipes going into the foundations, and it looks absolutely fantastic. Now, what we're going to be working on today is actually a iron building. So if you guys watch some of my other series, or even just some of my other like tour videos, I made a iron building not that long ago. It's actually on this world just off on the other side of it. And actually what we're going to be doing is kind of replicating that building over here, but we might change it up slightly with layout. So I've already kind of started it just because, again, since I've already done this kind of build, I wanted to kind of get it started, but also kind of figure out the footprint of it, you know? And so that's why this is all kind of started. So being that this is iron, I'm going to be using my iron setup. Now, I think what we're primarily going to be making here is just reinforced plates on this side, and then maybe on the other side, rotors, because those are the two simple things to make. And then in another building, we can maybe use, you know, take some of those items and kind of turn them into some of the more advanced items that we have, or we just make another building for just more advanced items. That's another option as well. So here's kind of how I'm envisioning the layout of my base. Now, I know I've talked about this quite a few times, so I think the final way I kind of want to do this, and of course this will probably change when I actually get to it, is so obviously we have the train station there. I don't really think that's going to really change. I think our buildings are mainly going to continue from our this is the power building, excuse me. So this is the power building. The power building is just going to keep going all the way down. And pretty much what we're going to do is just keep a row of buildings being all the same. So like this next building here would be maybe more fluid storage. This one over here would be more power. The next one over here would be iron. So pretty much keeping a line running of the same items, because I think that would help organize things a little bit. And also, mainly because you know the length of the buildings, I think it'd be a lot easier to maintain organization if we do it that way. So then on the other side of this building here, I might have another iron building for, like I was saying, the more advanced items, but then we could have another one on the other left side of that one, you know, just keep kind of going out that way. And that one would be more for the steel manufacturing. So there's still some stuff to figure out with this design, because the design we had originally was all based off of ore coming in from the top side, so kind of being even. So I think I got that figured out. What we're going to do is actually just run underneath with our iron ore, then come up and then split once we come up. So I think that's pretty simple. Now what we have to figure out is when we actually come out of our manufacturers, do we just take those items into a storage area, or do we have another storage area on top like I had in my original one? And then the other problem with that is, how do I actually get the items back down underneath? Because again, we're using the underneath the entire base or factory to kind of route our conveyor to keep it, you know, out of line of sight, and it's kind of hidden away from, you know, us just walking around. So we got to figure out how we're going to transport that down. Now, one option is we could make the base or the building here one block wider, and then what we can actually do is use this area in the middle to transport. That is one option that we have. So I'm trying to think if that's going to be the best way, or do we maybe free up a space somewhere? I don't know. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get it down from the manufacturers, or not the manufacturers, but the assemblers, and then down back underneath. So that's going to be the main struggle here that I think of. But again, I think what might be the best way, and I literally just thought of this when I was looking at it, is maybe we just leave a little, you know, conveyor walkway in the middle of the building. Maybe that's what we do. So like maybe so that stays hidden. What we do, just a solid wall there, and boom, there we go. It's kind of out of line of sight and kind of just secluded from everything. And we could even put a pillar back behind it, which would solve that issue as well. So I think that might be our way going forward now. Here we'll just put some windows. So, and a couple other things that are changing from the original design is we're not having two walkway sides on each one. We'll just have one directly in the middle. That is the middle of the building directly. And then we'll have the two over here still, because that's still kind of like one of the main design concepts or looks, is like having the two staircases. Now, one thing we could do is use a elevator mod, which I do not currently have installed, but we can install one. That what we could actually do is have one of them be the stair and then one of them be the elevator. That is another option that we do have available to us. But again, I'm trying to utilize as much standard stuff as possible, because obviously mods stop working at some point and we kind of need to be prepared for when that happens. And so if you're wondering why I have this walkway here, it's mainly just because, you know, if I need to get to the other side of the building, I don't want to have to walk all the way down to the other side. It just has this walkway directly in the middle that I can get through very easily if I do need to. So that's the kind of stuff that I just like to think about, you know? And I know I've talked about that in a lot of these different episodes, but that is truly the main thing that I always focus on, is how can I still maintain like access to everything and make it feel as realistic as possible without creating more work for me. Like, yes, obviously I can fly in this series, but I also want to make it to where once I'm out of, you know, creative mode, I want to be able to get around my factory. I want to be able to do all the things on foot and without having to walk to the other end of the building or hop into a car to get around. So that's the kind of stuff that I just like to think about, and you guys will hear me mention that so many more times and throughout this series as it continues. But, you know, I'll probably just bring it up and I'll know that I brought it up, but in case anybody is new to watching, that is why I am doing some of these things. And so the reason why we bring it back one now is mainly because of the new boundaries on the smelters that got introduced with update 3. So I want to see if this is true, and we'll find this out with the first layout that we have. So we need, I just gotta remember where everything is currently. Logistics, because we have so many more options here. As you can see, we have decorations, furniture. You know, I just gotta get used to finding everything again. And it's been a while since I've actually played Satisfactory. I've just been in one of those weird moods that I haven't really played that many games. And so that's kind of why you haven't seen me upload too much. Now, one game I was playing there for a while, and I still need to get back into, and because I have a series for it now, is No Man's Sky. So if you are interested in other games, please let me know, because another game that you guys might know if you're interested in survival games and building at the same time is Scrap Mechanic finally came out with their survival mode. So I'm very intrigued to see how that actually turns out. So just like that, because we need room to come out. All right, because I believe this one will come to here. I believe, this one comes to there, or is it side by side? I can't remember exactly. I know this one comes to here. I just got to remember how we actually did this. It's been a while, like I was mentioning. So this one, you got to be careful because we need 1, 2. That makes that 90. I think once we're to here, we can just do that. But I think we had a gap in between the two. That's what I'm trying to remember. Let's do a quick flash over to the existing one, and we can actually see what that looks like. And quick fly mode activated. Dun, 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 dun. Get ready to see everything in very low detail as we fly by everything and stuff doesn't load in, like these trees. Boom, right there. Okay, so we are over here at the existing design. So again, this is what the building is going to look like, almost, because we're not going to have the pipes, because we're not going to have to worry about that, because again, all of our pipes are down below. This is mainly just here for one, aesthetics, but two, if we ever needed to get pipe routed through the building and into a different one, we could do that. So that's why that is actually currently there. So they are separated by 1. Okay, so as you can kind of see, like the layout here, what we have is the splitter, like I said, and I believe this needs to be a Mark IV belt, because then it brings all this up to 100% efficiency for this layout. So now we got to fly all the way back to the other side again. And you can actually kind of see here, I've kind of been working on some different designs to try to, again, find ways to make this all more efficient. Some of this is working. It's still a work in progress. Like one of the things that I did in here was to kind of get rid of that Mark IV belt, trying to find a way to split this evenly. That way, you know, all the conveyors are the same. So if something's wrong on this one, it's also wrong on that one as well. So again, trying to make everything as symmetrical as possible. Right now, ours currently isn't. Like one of the smelters is farther away from the constructor than the other. And so that's where you can run into efficiency issues, is depending on the length of your belt, which is why we need a Mark IV belt and not a Mark III. So I'm not really sure if these infeeds for the smelters need to be Mark III. I think that's overkill. Those we might be able to tone down if we need to. Because usually ore is not one of those things that we're rushing to get in. Usually we have that in abundance. It's usually the resources coming out where we need to get everything as quick as possible. So I think that's all good. Now what we need to do is we will take these foundations, kind of get these started and coming in. Perfect. So now that should be symmetrical, which it looks like it is. And that's what we wanted. And then we should have enough room to get mergers in here. All right, so that's that. So how do we do this? Because what we need is the 8x1s going right here. Originally on the other design with these massive pillars. Oh, there we go. Being like this, but now the pillars are a lot smaller. I'm trying to think of just how it's actually gonna look. Because, like, obviously this design just doesn't work completely the same as, you know, some of the other designs that we had for the original, because we just don't need the pure scale. So, like, I'm trying to think just how this is going to look. It's going to look a little bit more stubby, you know? Almost like a canopy style above this building to kind of raise it up to the same elevation as this one, but then it's just, like, all open space. I'm just not sure how that actually look and if it would actually do what I'm actually kind of wanting it to do. So pretty much like what I was thinking is, I guess I'll just show you what I was thinking. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a hit or miss. Because I'm not too sold on it yet, but I kind of like it at the same time. It's a little different. Like from this angle, it doesn't look too bad. And I wonder once we start adding railings in here. Because obviously it's a balcony, so we need railings. One. So like as we just keep placing these, we're not obviously going to do the whole building because that's just overkill at this point. So, and obviously we haven't even colored anything yet either. I really feel like that doesn't look too bad. It's different again. And I think once we have this slope in place, I think it's fine because we're still leaving room for the glass here. Now it's just a matter of what do we do on the other side. Do we kind of continue the canopy design? Not sure on that one yet. We'll have to kind of wait and see. This building might be complete, might not. You might see one side of it complete, but maybe not the other. I'm not 100% sure yet. Because, so one thing I have been doing, guys, is I have just kind of been taking it easy on the video game intake right now. That's why you haven't seen me upload as much Satisfactory. Was one, I was focusing on recording No Man's Sky. I think I recorded for like a total of like 18 hours I've done recording on No Man's Sky. So I've done quite a bit. So that was a lot of time spent in that because it's also, you know, it's not just me recording the video game, it's also me getting camera shots, and then the editing side of it is a whole different side because I will even give you a small little insight to the first No Man's Sky. The first recording is like 2.5 to 3 hours long by itself. When I started editing the video, I did find out that it did not record any sound, and it's the only part that didn't do that. So, and it's one of those things that, you know, you're playing the game, you don't really know until you start editing that your game audio has no sound. So it's kind of weird when you're talking but you're not hearing any sound in the background, kind of like what you have with this game to an extent, because there's not a lot of stuff going on currently, so it's not a lot of background noise. But in that game there is background noise that if you play the game you know about. So what I did was I went to the other parts and I actually took audio from the jetpack and the ships and tried to match them up as close as possible so you actually got some sound. So I had to go and mark every time I used the jetpack in, you know, that first episode, and then put a jetpack noise to it. Same thing with the ship, and same thing with the mining laser and all that. That way it just added the more realism to you guys, especially for a new series. I didn't want it to be like, oh, he's missing game audio, that's what it's going to be like this entire time, I'm not going to watch it. So if you guys do want to go support that series, it'd be greatly appreciated. But I will promise you I'm not giving up on Satisfactory. I will still be playing it. I just got into one of those moods to where I wanted to take a small break. I've done YouTube for a lot of years now on different channels, and I don't want to get burnt out like I did before and stop making content for you guys, and I still want to keep enjoying it the way I currently am. So yeah, thank you for supporting me, guys. It is greatly appreciated. If you do like this content, please like and subscribe. It does help the channel grow and then also find new people to watch our content. So if you do want to help with that process, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys later, and thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.